Hello everyone. I welcome you to another session with me of Learn with Your Coach. Moving ahead, our topic for today is develop yourself and the many benefits of it. So I chose this topic because oftentimes I come across people writing to me with queries, especially those who are a bit confused with the concept of coaching, because there are times where people actually are looking for a coach, or maybe some kind of help, maybe if not a coach, but some sort of help. But they actually do not really understand that where they should be heading towards. Because oftentimes it is also seen that people have a lot of misconception whether you need a coach to develop yourself, or is it only that coaches help in solving some real psychological issues, or like they work like therapists. So this particular session that I had designed and I built it is basically to address that, because of late I do get into conversation with a lot of people. In fact, a lot of people write to me and I have to repeat myself again and again. We start from the very beginning where I explain them, okay, this is what coaching can do for you, and this comes under the concept of developing yourself, not necessarily that you're suffering from any kind of ailment, but you just want to further develop yourself, thrive in your life. It's not like you're suffering, or really you have some a deep problem and that's the reason why you look for a coach. No, you can look for a coach even for that, but even if you're doing really well, even if you feel that your life is, it doesn't really have such serious issues, you can still develop yourself with help of a coach. So therefore this topic. Okay, now when we talk about self, I just want to spend only a few minutes here. This is only for those who may again a bit get confused about what exactly is developing self. So I'm not here with some very heavy technical terms, but rather my intention here is to make it as simple as I could. So with self, if we talk about, we have only two dimensions. One is our relationship with our own self, which is our inner self, and then we have a relationship with others, which is outside of us. So whenever you think about developing yourself, or personal growth, or self-development, or personal development, always remember that there are only two dimensions to it. And anything that come under these is where you are developing yourself. Now, I have just put in some icons here, and through it, it's quite self-explanatory. We have, as I said, we have a relationship to our own self, meaning our own likes, our dislikes, our entire persona, our self-esteem, our self-worth. And then we have a relationship outside ourselves, which is with either, this relationship sometimes is either with our partner, or this is, we hold it in our family, this is with our children, this one is your friends or colleagues, this is at work. So we have different kinds of relationship. This is with ourselves, but there are other dimensions which we just spoke about, relationship with others. So this again has two things. One is about the professional, which is here, like the boss, and you have people underneath you, or you are the boss and you have people above you and underneath you. And then you have your friends, which are formal. Then you have your partner, which is personal. Family, kids, again that falls in the personal. So this is all about these two dimensions of relationship with self and with others. Moving on. Oh, I forgot. We also have a community and neighbors. So we at large, since we all are part of this global world, we also have relationships with larger community. This again can be both personal and professional, depending on kind of work we do, or we just kind of interactions we do, like we're dealing with some kind of brand, or we are consuming, or we are purchasing, we hold that larger relationship outside ourselves. So the three very common ways where we can develop ourselves, since we just spoke about developing self, these are very, very common and still followed methods. One is you hire a coach, as I said, because coaches are your professional partners who actually help you in the journey. They don't advise, but we as coaches, uh, here I would say I can represent entire coaching community where just giving you a glimpse of that how a coach can help. So coach do not really, it's not just a sports coach, but coach in any area, they would act as your partner, a professional friend, where they're not advising you but helping you through many ways and techniques by uh, being a facilitator and helping you achieve what you intend to achieve. So that's one of the very common ways, but not very much explored. This is something where people don't still are not aware that there are some very affordable, reasonable, and effective ways of developing oneself. But every time when it comes to coach or hiring a coach, the people often think, oh, it's not for me. Maybe this is for some celebrities or some top-notch people. No, it's not really like that. Even if you are a homemaker, if you are a student, if you are someone who really want to add that meaning to your life, you want to know what's your purpose, you're looking for focus, you really need someone who can hold you accountable, and it can range from a small habit to giving up of addictions to anything. A coach can add tremendous value into your life. So this is one of the common ways, but not very much explored or used. Then we have self-help books. So there are category. One of the categories under the books, while it's under non-fiction, where you have lots of self-help books. So for some who may not prefer a coach, tend to read self-help books, which maybe kind of they want to use that content. But in a way, again here, if you really read a particular author and a particular self-help book, let's say on gratitude, on motivation, on conquering your fears, on building your confidence, or speaking, public speaking, or being emotionally intelligent or very smart, in a way you are indirectly being coached by the author, because maybe the person is not with you, but the book, the author's ideas, most probably these are written by self-development gurus and even coaches. So a self-help book is also an indirect way where the author is helping the reader go through those techniques and understand. So yeah, this is one of the ways. Then self-evaluation. So some people also tend to use some tools, personal development tools, and may want to self-evaluate, which is in a way good, but I would say again with caution. Uh, it's not that I'm asking you to always look for a coach or keep going there, but as an individual, even my own self, I have a coach. So a coach also needs a coach. And we cannot really totally objectively evaluate ourselves. We have our own blind spots. There are times where I really cannot make sense of things and I may need help despite and regardless of the expertise I hold. So is when I turn to my coach, and they again when I toss my ideas and they coach me, is where I get into my do that inner work and then get back on track. Similarly, another good example of this could be doctors. Like, regardless of how good a doctor is, they would need an expert if they fall sick to really help them. So self-evaluation to one extent is good, a very common way to develop oneself, but it's not very recommended. I think the best thing is that we seek help. Moving on. So here, as I speak to you about developing self, there are many ways and benefits of it. Now, these are what you see on your screen, some of the very, very common categories of how one could develop oneself. It begins with improving awareness, which is self-awareness. Then you develop talent and potential. third category is when one develops self, it is also where you facilitate employability for yourself. You enhance the fourth category is you enhance the quality of life, and then it also helps you in realizing your dreams and aspirations. So moving on, we'll pick up each category, and within each I'll give you a very basic examples so that you get an idea that these are the major four categories. Underneath this, there's a lot actually that one could do. But as we go through each category with an example, you will get more clarity. And then towards the end of this session, I have a small exercise for you which will help you further. So let's begin. The first one is to improve awareness. Now this one, developing self, one of the category to develop one own self or personal development is to improve our self-awareness, where we, if you look at here with the meaning that we have picked up from the dictionary, it's a complete conscious knowledge of our own character and feelings. And oftentimes, the more self-aware one is, you will find such people to be absolutely emotionally intelligent. They they know they are not reactive, they are not very confused in life, kind of sorted, they know the directions, they make their decisions with well thought over, they're not judgmental. All of these benefits come when we are aware of our own self, because unless we don't know ourselves enough, we cannot take control of our inside world as well as our outside world. So one of the basic and the top category to develop yourself is to improve and focus on improving your self-awareness. As an example, I have just given a very basic one, where if you could just spend a minute here on the slide and ask yourself this question of, just fill in the blanks where it's written, I am a coach. If I were to fill this up, I like nature. I dislike loud music. I want peace of mind. I need a good night's sleep. I enjoy my afternoon siesta. What makes me sad? Injustice in the global world. What makes me happy? Being in nature along with the flora and the fauna. And I prefer calmness and peace to loud music. So just 1 minute, if you could spend and think, how much do you really know yourself? If you could answer these questions, I'm not saying it will throw a lot of insights about you, but this is actually the way we kind of begin to spend some time with our own self and try to know how good we are in knowing what really we are all about. Because you will be very surprised that at times when I coach people, uh, sometimes even a simple question like this, like what makes you sad, make people pause and think for like almost close to more than I think 15 minutes. I did had one case like that, and because they are all confused, there's a complete lack of touch with the inner self, and they just don't know what is it. So if in case in your life, if you really want to develop yourself and really live a very rich, meaningful life, always begin with self-awareness. Look inside. And if you don't find answers coming out so easily, which is an indication that there is a gap, a huge gap, and one really need to sit and evaluate, because unless this gap is filled in, the confusions will continue. It's not that they're going to go away, but maybe with age and more experiences in life, the confusions, the the too many thought process, and all of those might just keep adding in. So there could be, like, not now but maybe in future, at times one feeling really overwhelmed and looking for direction because they just don't know what's happening. So knowing oneself is actually the first step. So this is just a simple example. Self-awareness is the key. So try to spend some me time with yourself. Okay, the second category when you want to develop yourself here is about develop talent and potential. So it's basically attention of self-awareness, where here the focus is more about specific to knowing one's strength and weaknesses. So again, I've put in very simple, as an example, some simple queries where if you, there could be times where a lot of people have this question, okay, what talent I have? What's my potential? Because for many, talent means that, okay, I have this XYZ education qualification, I have this certificate, so maybe this is the talent I have, and that's my potential, and therefore I'm in this job. It's actually not that way. So, in another category, when you really want to personally grow, I think focus on understanding your strength and weaknesses, and always do it with in specifics to things that really engage you. Because these are the questions that you see on your screen are very basic ones. They just give you a glimpse of what could be subjects or topics that really are of interest to you. What is that kind of work when, even if it is hard work, you like completely engaged in it? What do you think you're really proud of, or any unique knowledge and life experiences where you felt you never thought you could manage it so well, but you really did? And any other unusual skill you feel you have, uh, keeping a tab of that actually also helps you paving way for what exactly you want to do in life. And this will not only just help you pick, not just pick a job or anything of that. So it's more like, where do you really sink in, where does your heart lies? Because oftentimes I have seen, and I myself was in that situation where uh, we work in corporates, we work for real good pay packages, but our heart is not in our jobs. We just dread going there, meeting deadlines, getting things done. So knowing, having a complete view of where my strength and weaknesses are, which actually brings a lot of clarity as to, okay, if this is an area that I'm really good at, and I've seen myself and I've experienced it, why not further hone my craft, work more on it, maybe take additional certification lesson, any new, or maybe read a book on it or write a book on it, whatever. This way I am further deepening my craft. My expertise is getting deeper and deeper, and maybe I'll be that go to person for. And that's how you build your talent and realize your potential. So, this is a very important category, and this applies to both those who work and even those who don't, because it's not really that the homemakers are not talented or they don't have potential. It could be that they have, it's just that they have not yet explored it. So developing oneself, having particularly working in this category, gives you a lot of insights of what exactly you could do so that you live a more engaged and a meaningful life. Okay, now to the third category. Now this is particularly related to those at work. This is called facilitate employability, meaning here it's a little bit tied to your talent and potential part, but it is specific to professionals where people, this has also been seen in the recent past where employability was at its lowest low, especially not just in India but even in Western countries, where it was found that people invested so much in education, but when it really comes to the practical work or ground reality, the freshers who just passed out of college, campus graduates who've been hired, they really had to be put through lots and lots and lots of training for them to make employable and employable enough to put them on a project. So this was a major issue, and I think perhaps this is the reason why developing oneself, and under that, this category is for those who feel, there are also times where we might not really are either getting hired or not really able to make it, and we keep getting confused as to where am I getting wrong. So here it's about our potential, the quality of being suitable for paid work. So again, this I have picked it up from my own human resource experience. Our employability is simply dependent on these three factors: the knowledge, skills, and abilities we hold, plus the experience, this together put is the competence that we create. So if you feel at times that this is especially for my viewers who are into any professional field, that our employability is either a hit or it's not really, I'm not getting through, I find it difficult to find a job or get employed, I am not able to stay in that a particular job for a long time. I think this is because somewhere there's a mismatch of it. So always sit back and check whether your knowledge, your skills, and your abilities really match up, plus your relevant experience, your competence to the job you're doing. You will be very, it could be a surprise plus an interesting thing to know that I did had some of the clients who had studied medicine, but they discontinued it, which means if I put them under the category of knowledge and skills, they were very well in the medical science and quite aware, but experience wise they never went into the field, and then they want to be somebody into a completely different field. So when this such mismatches happens, and it's very common, I'm just giving you one of the example, but it's very common. Employability takes a hit. People find themselves stuck in a job or not being able to get into a job, not being able to really grow in a job, or having all sorts of issues because of this particular mismatch. So keep this in mind. If at all you have any issues here, you could anytime hire a coach. Again, this would be my suggestion, or and to really sort this one out and really up your employability skill, because this is a very dynamic world. The economies, markets, everything is changing at such a rapid pace that being out of employability will actually make us obsolete in very less time. And with every new year, there's a new generation that's joining the job market. So please, for those who really feel that this is one huge gap, work on these areas and see to it that how you sustain or really build on it. Now to another category, which is where we develop ourselves under personal development or self-development comes, it's called to enhance quality of life. Here, uh, why we develop ourselves is also that when we want, as I was saying before, making our life more richer and meaningful, it's not really about money, but it's about the quality of life that we've been living. And this is quite subjective, as to say, but putting it very simply, it is a standard we attach to the health, comfort, and happiness experienced by an individual or group. So, if at all you feel this one category where you want to develop yourself, look for how you are doing. There are no universal standards set, but there's always a standard of good, right? So look at it for your own life. How are you doing in terms of standard of health, comfort, and happiness? What are you experiencing here? Either you, your entire family, or a group. You can easily make out how good is your quality of life, because these are the very common parameters on which a quality of life is actually assessed. So check this out, which also will help you personally grow and develop. Now, the final one, the final category where we could develop, grow, and part of personal development or develop yourself is to realize dreams and aspirations. Now, simply put, this means that we plan and achieve our life goals. So it's all about planning and working towards your goals. So the goals could be, it's not like only, again, I'll repeat here because this was one common question I kept receiving from a lot of my client base, where there were a lot of women group that I had once coached, and they keep coming back to me asking me, what are these goals? Are we part of a group or an organization? I said, no. Goals does not always necessarily mean that you're a working woman. Even if you're a homemaker, goals means what you aim to intend to achieve. So here, if you really want to develop yourself, have goals. So first thing you need to do is to not have it in head, rather plan it out into various categories, whether it's related to your career, family, relationship, health, wellness, business, finance, money. So these are the common 5 top categories of anyone's life. So first plan it, check how you're doing in each of these, then plan them, what you want to do, and then work towards by when you think you will be able to achieve it. In this slide, I have just put this as a small example where towards your left hand you see the life goals, where again the category, where which category they fall under, and then by when do one plan to achieve it. So you can also make similar goals in a similar fashion and go ahead with realizing your dreams. Now to your action plan. Since we covered all the 5 categories, I want you to pause for a minute, let the whole information sink in, and then one question to you: which area you want to work on? So if you really want to develop yourself, you want to foster uh, a personal growth, a plan for your own personal growth, the first thing you could do is pick your area. So you now know the 5 categories where you can develop yourself. I mean, the very common 5 areas where usually are used in any personal development workshops. So whether it is to do with improving your awareness, your own self-awareness, talent or potential, which is about your strength and weaknesses, facilitate employability, maybe about your knowledge, skills, abilities, or you want to enhance quality of life, where I just showed you the standards, you just need to measure yourself on it, or you want some life goals where you want somebody to be an accountable partner and plan those goals and set a timeline and achieve them. Pick one area. So your call to action is pick one area you want to work on, take that, hire a coach for yourself, and start working. Remember, friends, it's not just about um, uh, you have an issue only, then you should go for it. Each one of us are entitled to a much more richer, meaningful, and a good life. And these simple techniques and categories and the content that I'm sharing with you, it's only with this one intent that you live a much more deeper, meaningful life. So go ahead, pick your area, plan your goals, and go for it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being my viewers. I shall come back to you with another session. Here are my coordinates on your screen. I will also leave a link in the description box, which you can anytime refer in case you want to book a session with me for coaching. And for more details, you can gather it from our website, which I forgot to mention it here, but I'll put that in the description box. So you could go there and check. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.